Welcome to People Are Everything, the show where I ask my guests, who are the 5 people that have shaped the person you are today? And today I have an absolute gift for you. Today I am talking to Dr Eleazar Iwuji. Not only is Eleazar an ex-member of the United Nations, not only is he the father of Chukwudi Iwuji, the actor I interviewed in Series 1, who starred in films like Guardians of the Galaxy, John Wick, The Split, Day of the Jackal, etc. Not only is he the father of Chukwudi, he's the father of 3 other siblings, one of whom is in the Foreign Office, one of whom is a very eminent oncologist, and one who's a real big hitter in the sort of film and television industry. So yeah, he's quite the guy, and at 97 hasn't lost any of his acuity. And not bad from a guy that didn't have his first pair of shoes till he was 14. So I know you're going to love this one. Please take time for this one. You know, he is 97 and therefore wants to share so much of his life and wisdom. And it's really worth paying attention to. There's so many gems here. Yeah, absolutely. You know, such a delight. In fact, I met him in person after this recording. He came over from Nigeria and I had dinner with him. And yeah, he's an absolute delight. So sit back and enjoy this one. This is Dr. Eleazar Iwuji. Hello, Eleazar. Welcome to People Are Everything. It's so amazing to see you in person, in real life. How are you, first of all? How are you feeling?
Thank you, Julia. I'm happy. I'm well. Really, and it's a pleasure to see you.
Oh, what?
I'm looking forward to this meeting.
Me too.
Yes, thank you.
And you're in Lagos right now, and that's right, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
How's the weather? What's it like?
It's hot here. This is one of the hottest periods of the year, and air conditioners are up in people who can afford it, and people try to restrict moving out. So this thing now is 5 o'clock, and it's cooling down. You can walk, but it's early. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I will try not to keep you too long because I imagine you're looking forward to a sundowner or two. What's your favourite drink of a sundown? A glass of wine, maybe? A gin and tonic? What do you think?
Yes. I look forward to weekends because it gives me opportunity to have 1 or 2 glasses of red wine.
Ooh,
yeah, and better when I can have a companion to do it. I try to tempt Chinenye to it. It doesn't oblige. She doesn't oblige always, but occasionally she does. So
well, I know.
Good.
Yeah, I know Chinenye is right next to you there. She's keeping out of shot. But maybe I'll draw her in at some point. Who knows?
Yeah.
But listen, I've been so excited to have you on here. I should explain to everybody first of all how we've come to know each other. So you were chosen at the end of Chukwudi, who is your son's interview with me. I asked him who should I speak to next and why, and he chose you. And I was thrilled because I'd known a bit about you already because I also know your son, Audrey. And I feel like I know the whole family now, to be honest. I feel like I've met quite a few of the Iwuji clan. So it's like that's the pathway, if you like, to us meeting. And before we met, he really wanted me to read your book, which I do have here, Memoir of a Country Boy. I don't know if anyone can see that. And it's just a fabulous read, Eleazar. I mean, you know, one of the reasons I'm doing this is to meet people who are so far outside of my day-to-day. And, you know, you are very far outside my day-to-day. I would never meet someone like you ordinarily. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. So before we get into your 5, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, if you could maybe just summarize for everybody here, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your backstory, maybe, you know, some of the key, shall we say, highlights of your some years, Eleazar. There's certainly some years that you've been on this planet. And I'm sure there's some highlights you can just share for us.
Well, my background is purely rural, in the sense that I was born in a rural town, and I had my education there. And the education, anyway, it was a very limited one, a primary school education. But with primary school education at that time, it was possible to get employment. And so when I knew I didn't have the opportunity or didn't have the facility to go to secondary school, I started my career as a teacher. And then it progressed, and eventually took me to university, the only university in Nigeria, in University College Ibadan. I went there hoping to come out in colors, but unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. But as shall soon become clear, that failure turned to be a blessing in disguise, because he made me change my trajectory, Then to further my education, I had to go to England. And in England, I was after graduating, doing the degrees I didn't aim at doing. I was thinking of first degree, but I ended up having a doctorate degree and then lecturing in there. I returned to Nigeria. I was not returning to look for a job. Before I left, I have already been given an appointment as a lecturer in the university in Eastern Nigeria, where I was born. It was in Nsukka, Eastern region. So when I got there, I thought I have landed where my dream had been pointing to. But there was a very good development, which was unexpected. To me, it looked as a conscription from the government when I was appointed a judge in the National Industrial Court, which was based in the capital of the country then, Lagos. And then here I came to Lagos. I moved with my family to Lagos. I was in this job, enjoying it again, because I spent over 10 years outside. I felt coming back, I have made it, I can relax. But after 8 years, something happened. Then again, I joined the United Nations, ILO, International Labour Organization. And that changed completely the trajectory of my life. I was there. It was from there I retired. And then retiring, since then I have been traveling the world, living with my children where they are. I think that's what...
That's a pretty good story.
Yes, thank you.
But listen, I'm so glad we got to the United Nations thing. I guess that's the most, I suppose, a place of success that everybody listening will understand the importance of that and the gravitas of that. But what people won't know unless they do read your book, and I really hope they do, is that one of the things that struck me when I first read it was, you didn't have your first pair of shoes till you were 14. And that you came from a very rural background. Your parents, they were super, committed to you having an education and you having more than they had. And the theme of that book, when I read it back, is very much for you to share that story, that origin, if you like, for your children now. And I hope we come on to talk about your children more. But it's like, it's such an extraordinary origin story to, like I say, not having your own shoes, till you're 14, to then working in the United Nations and retiring in that role. So it's a remarkable kind of life arc, if you like. And I know when Audrey and Chikuji speak about you, they are so proud. Like they really can't wait to tell. I mean, when I first met both of them, they wanted me to know that fact, all those facts. So, and I know you're a very humble man, Eleazar, but we're going to get, I don't know, I'm going to poke you a little bit today and see if I can get you to share some stories in and around that whole kind of summary you've just given me. But before we get into your 5 people, the next question I'd like to ask my guest is, how did you find choosing the 5? Because I imagine you know so many people, you've met so many incredible people over your lifetime. How was it trying to make it just about 5 people?
Yes, you're right, really. So many people came into my life. But the criteria for me was those whose influence I still feel now.
Yeah.
Those whom I have cause to refer to the time and what they did. Lasting influence, really. That's what helped me to do it. So, if you ask people who influenced me, there are certainly more than that number. But to pick these 5, the people whose influence have been lasting, and then had a really very made impact.
Yes,
guided me to where I am. Yes,
that's a really good way of choosing, actually, because some people try all different types of ways of, coming up with their 5. But I think picking 5 people who still have impact and influence on you today, that's a really good way of putting it. All right, so shall we start with the 5 then? Should we just get into it? And I'll ask you questions along the way. But I'm really intrigued to see who gets the number 1 spot. Who's first on your list?
Well, the first on my list is a couple. That's my father and my mother.
Oh, brilliant.
And influence were mainly in what formed my character. If you ask people who Eleazar is, what they can say about me, many of them I gained from them.
Wonderful.
My mother and my father also. Mine was that my education was limited, primary. They didn't have any formal education. So they were very humble people. They believed in their faith, Christianity, and they tried to practice the tenets of it. And my father was very, very quick in dictating misdemeanor on any of his children or things wrong. Earlier, he saw a bit of timidity in me. He tried to, in a loving, kind way, to show me how to be bold and courageous, because he was known to be a very bold person, really fearless. So he couldn't imagine how a bold and courageous person will have a timid person. Sometimes he would say, well, how can a tiger have a sheep as that one? So he did it.
Yes.
Then the premium he put in education also affected all of us. He didn't have education himself, but then a formal education, but he didn't want his children to miss it. But he knew it wasn't easy, but he was prepared, he and my mother, to make a sacrifice to make sure that all these children, who were 6 really, got at least their primary education. And I was also struck by their faith, what they believe. Their relationship also looked to me a model. And really, it to a great extent affected my relationship with my wife, because I was looking forward to something like that, And you can't believe it. Similarly, my wife, when we come to it, seemed to have had similar background from the parents, and so it made it easier for us to get there. So the the question of what character I have, my interest in other people, and my desire soon, I seem to have got it from my father. He made sure I walked away from those attitudes. He was a disciplinarian, but as in a milder form. The chief disciplinarian in the family was my mother. My mother was quick to use her tongue, her hand. Nobody was an exception. They had no favorite, really. So he gave to you what you wanted in order to make sure you behave in the way you like our children to behave. On the other hand, he was a very generous mother. Caring, he made sure really there was food on the table all the time, and he would give it. And I liked really her loyalty to my father and my father's loyalty to her. So they were able to work together and so on. This influenced me really. So in terms of character building and in terms of goal to look forward, in terms of being bold and being interested in other people, things like that, and treating people as equals. I'm not saying this, or if you are helping us in the house, you look down on the person. Those principles, I work from them.
I love that. Do you know what? There's so many things I want to ask you about. First of all, I just love that statement of how does a tiger have a sheep? Is that what you said? How does a tiger end up with a sheep? Something like that.
Yes, that's it. Okay, sorry.
I've not heard that saying before, but I get the point. It's like he was sounds like a very strong character, as you say, and then he had this son, and he's like, right, I need my boy to be courageous too.
Yes.
And the modeling of your then, I guess we're going to talk about your wife Dorothy at some point today, but the modeling of what a good marriage looks like from both sides, I think that's extraordinary as if you like, a framework for how you went on to live your life. And those guiding principles, be kind, don't look down on people, don't have judgment. And of course, the faith piece. I know that about you. I know that faith is huge for you. So I'm so glad they've made the top spot. You've technically cheated, though, Eleazar. That's actually 2 people, but I'll let you off. I think when you are entitled to do whatever you want today. So I'm going to just, and I am teasing, but it's like, I love the fact you've grouped those 2 people together and honored them with the top spot. I think that's really, really wonderful.
So what is the question now?
Well, the question now is who's number 2 on the list? I want to know who's next.
Okay. The number 2 on the list is a local friend of mine called Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I met him when I was teaching. And it didn't take him time to realize really that I was uncomfortable about my education, missing going to a grammar or secondary school. More so because he was seeing me putting it as a hindrance to getting to a higher level of education. But he taught me that he made it possible for me to go to a university because he told me another way. There are other ways of doing it. And what is more, he discovered what I can say is potentials in me, which he felt would be developed and then could lead me that to get around that, to get around the fact that I didn't go to secondary school. As a teacher, he knew that in teaching profession, our employers also had training colleges, and that if I could pass teachers' exams, which were hard yearly, get to a stage I pass and enter that training college. And the training college lasted for you to get the certificate they wanted 4 years. And that in the course of the 4 years, I will cover most of the subjects, except perhaps in the sciences that are done in the secondary school. And that will minimize what I think I have missed by not going to this. And I can also top it up to whatever level I liked. In other words, teaching gave opportunity for learning and progressing in that, in elevating the level of the education. He not only theorized on that, he also tried to help me. For instance, he helped me in my preparation for that examination. The way he did, I said one of the subjects really we had then was the geography of Europe. You know, it was colonial days, of course, geography of Europe. And the textbook recommended for us was a difficult one. By that time, he has completed his secondary grammar school and was in a teacher training school for post-secondary schools. And they were using a bigger book, a more, the one that had a greater contents really made it easy to appreciate, to grapple with the subject. Mm-hmm. A book called The Geography of the World. It was written by Dudley Stamp. Mm-hmm. What he did, he knew really, and this geography was really pulling many people down in that exam, was to send me his own, that bigger book. And that helped me really to master the subject and do well, even though it wasn't the only subject. But my score in that, in addition to others, helped me to
progress. Yeah.
So, and I entered the training college and I followed that path he gave me.
Yeah.
That path he gave me eventually led me to university. So,
amazing. And is Alfred still in your life? Is he still with us?
Unfortunately, no. While I was in the UK, he died while I was in the UK. He became a graduate himself, principal of a school. Mm. Yeah.
Mm. But how long were you friends? How long did you stay friends after that early intervention?
Oh, we were friends for more than for more than 10 years, more than 10, 15 years. Yes.
Very good. Do you know when people like that come in your life and they change the whole direction? And for him to know that that's what would get you that advantage, that to have that geography, knowledge would help give you that advantage to go to the next level. That's kind of an investment in you, isn't it? He must have seen something in you and thought, I'm going to invest in this Eleazar. I think he's made of good stuff. So I'm really glad he came into your life. And can you just share how you met? How did you come to know him in the first place?
How I met him? How I met Alfred?
Yeah, how did you meet?
No, Alfred, we came from the same town.
Okay.
And then entering, there were a few church-sponsored grammar schools that they were famous. Many people were competing to enter. And he entered that school. So he was locally known to be a brilliant person. Mm. And then when I met him, he was at the age, really, the final year of his primary school, when there was a gap of about 5 years between us in age, in class, I mean. The grade I was in the primary school, then he was the finishing type of it. So we were attracted to him when he got passed to that college, And what is more, we were also in worship, belong to the same church, but not in the same village. And so I made move to get near to him, and he saw me. I was small then. When I said, even though we were at school, it was when I was teaching that we met. Then he knew to see a young, small person like that teaching, he was also attracted to see me small. And
yeah. Mm. Isn't it funny how we meet anybody in this life? There's something that makes you just go and say hello, isn't there? I mean, do you remember the actual moment you met? Do you remember that time? Sometimes you can just go close your eyes and imagine.
No, but I can remember the actual the time he came into my life, so on. because when he was in this grammar school finishing, and then if you see in my book, the headmaster that nearly flogged me.
Right. That was the same place.
Yes. That man was a sort of sponsor to him. And I was teaching under that person. And so during his holidays, he will come to spend some time there. And so that was how we got near and then become close.
Very good. And I do remember now what I wanted to ask you about your mum and dad. I did want to ask you, where are you in the six? There's 6 kids. Well, which number are you? Are you?
I'm number 2. I have a
Number
sister
2.
before. Number 2.
Okay. So eldest boy.
Yes, the eldest boy, and then at the bottom was a boy. So
No,
you have the 4 girls in between. Okay. And because there were 4 girls, I'm following this culture of people trying to value boys more. Mm-hmm. I was really, my father had a soft spot for me, my mother.
Yes.
Not that they cheated or that.
That's still everywhere today, Eleazar. You ask any sister of a brother, everybody says, "Oh, he gets everything. He's the favorite. It's not fair." My own daughter says the same thing to me all the time. She thinks my son is, have this expression, apple of my eye. Do you say the same thing? I don't know, but it means that he's my favorite. I don't believe parents really have favorites, but I can see where it comes from. I think particularly mothers and their sons, there's definitely something about that. But yeah, so you're number 2. So eldest boy, that would have been quite a lot of responsibility for you back then, I think. They would have had high expectations for you, I'd imagine.
Yes, especially as there was a girl who passed away before others followed. So even though I was number 2, number 3 passed away. In my book, again, you can see where that was when I saw my father crying.
Yes, I remember now. So
these people were, and that kept a big difference between me and the girls, the younger girls. Yeah. In my book, you will see really how that made me have a lot of more responsibilities than I should have showed that, particularly when my senior sister was away.
I loved your book. I really like some of the pictures you've collected. And I don't know what it is about photographs that are from a very long time ago, but they just seem to be such high quality. I mean, there's one here on, you've said here, on my matriculation at UCI, right? 1955. I don't even know what matriculation means. But if I can hold this up for anybody that's watching rather than listening. Yes. This is such a wonderful photograph of you in your gown and your mortarboard. And maybe we'll come on to more about this photograph. But it's like just the quality of it. It's such a great photograph. And I think this modern generation, we're all just snapping on our iPhones, and they don't have such a quality to them. And I love that photograph. Oh, and while I've got this, I may as well show this picture then as well. I don't know, can you see this? This is you with your first pair of shoes. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Incidentally, the rest of the 4, I'm the only person still breathing.
Yeah. And I could keep looking at all these photographs, to be honest with you, Eleazar, but I shouldn't really. But I tell you something that is very common throughout all of your family, and I hope we're going to talk more about your family, is this beautiful smile you all have. It's really something. And okay, is Dorothy on your list? Will we be speaking about her soon? Because there's a wonderful photograph in here of her. I'd love to share that. But Alfred sounds like he was very influential for you.
Yes.
And we've now, we've spoken a little bit more about your parents. Shall we talk about number 3 then? Who's number 3 on your list?
Yes. Number 3 is Dorothy.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, good.
Yes. Well, I say, the qualities Dorothy had, being intelligent, witty, being confident. You can never say you caught him unawares.
Yeah.
And being faithful, have strong faith also, because as I'm saying, the parent got it also from her parent. They seem to complement my weaknesses. There's ability to take decision immediately. And if she takes a decision, she doesn't regret it, even if it turns wrong. Whereas, or she has something to decide about, it doesn't take her time to do it. And she was wise. That again, you'll see in the book, my book, I talked of her, the mother, as can say, inherited it from the mother, foresighted. And those things really affected my life. You can see, for instance, when I had my disappointment at Ibadan, I told you in my book, I mentioned we were engaged for 10 years. She came to see me where I was. It reminded me, look, I wasn't marrying you because of position or what you will be. I don't know. But you shouldn't allow this thing to break you.
Yes.
That was wonderful. It was very inspiring for me, that being my first and only experience of failure. And that. So in many ways, her life, her qualities, her character, they complemented my seeming weaknesses where they are. And when I will also talk about how I joined the ILO or United Nations, you can see crucial role she played, So she was dependable, and even now, she is not there. When we have family meeting, the children, we cannot finish a family meeting without not saying, but this is the children saying, but this is what mommy said about this. Or saying, this is what he said, referring to her. Yeah, that shows you really the wealth of knowledge she had more, even though I was older than her, but in life things and so on. So she was a wonderful woman.
Oh, this is so nice to hear you. Sorry, Eleazar, I've cut off crossed you there, but I mean that's so lovely to hear you speak about her so warmly. And you met very young, didn't you? And I think, if I remember rightly, it was a bit of a setup by some friends. They just knew that you two should be together for the rest of your lives. So they kind of set you up, didn't they? If I got that right?
Yes. Yes, it was my sisters, my junior sister, who were her classmates.
That's right.
My junior sister. Because when they discovered that, they introduced her to my parents, even before my father died. My father knew. I haven't known then. No, because she was attending. My father and my mother, so they were inviting her for meals in the house. Before then, I had no idea of what it is, and how they got me really there. It was so fortuitous, this.
And you were married something like 46 years, is that right? Before she passed?
46
is that right?
years and 5 months. 5 months and 11 days.
Oh, I mean, the fact you can remember it that clearly as well in terms of time.
Yes,
I mean, she was very beautiful. She was so beautiful. I've got to show you another photograph. And I'm going to make Chinene blush now, because I think Chinene looks very similar to you, to Dr. Z.
Yes.
Don't you think? But look at her here.
Yes.
You did very well, Eleazar. Well done.
Yeah.
She's really beautiful. Yeah. So I know that she's a big feature of you and your family, and every inch the sort of very, influential matriarch. But she was also, although she was very, very kind of family orientated, she also had her own career, didn't she? She had her own work. She did her own travel. She was very much her own woman, wasn't she?
No, please, can you repeat the question again?
I said she was a question. Yeah, no worries. So I'm saying, although she was very committed to her family, she was also did her own work and her own travel and had her own career. And I think that was, something that brought a lot of richness to you as a family.
That's right. In other words, she kept on telling me that the mother told her, you wouldn't be a wife who will always depend on your husband. If you want toilet soap, she will bring, you wait for your husband to give you money for it. If you want this, and you should be also independent. Try to do this. And she took interest. She was very good in the domestic home science. We could bake cake. When we were in Lagos, the top officers in the ministry, parties, birthday parties, weddings, she was the person making the cake and the entertaining. And when we lived in Addis Ababa, where you had diplomats coming from Nigeria and different countries attended, because Addis Ababa was a regional headquarters of United Nations who were entertaining people. Everybody would love to go to Dorothy's house party. And her formula was, if you are telling him, are you going to, shall we cook for 10 or 15? He said, do you want 15? Because there is not much difference between cooking 10 and the 15. And so she was practically very good very well domesticated in that. And as you can see from my book again, in Addis Ababa, she wanted to help street girls and approached the Greeks and was able to select 10 of street girls and taught them, teaching them home thing. And before they could finish the course, embassies and so on have employed all this.
Oh, wow. I knew some of that. I didn't know, I couldn't remember that specific detail. But that's wonderful. So that's, giving those street girls that opportunity to train them. And then they became, working in those houses. So that's incredible. Well, listen, we're probably going to refer back to Dorothy a few more times, I'd imagine, as we come through the 5 people. So, well, okay. So that's we've done your parents, we've done Alfred, we've done Dorothy. Who's number 4 on your list?
Number 4 on my list again is there are 2.
Okay.
They are my friends, college friends, Emmanuel and Jonathan.
Emmanuel.
We are all together in training college. But we had similar goals and ambition, particularly educationally. And so when we were leaving the college, we seem to have had agenda, what we shall follow, that we make sure this is not where we are stopping. And so we were interacting. What exam are you preparing? A-level, this one, that are you doing? Through that, we all 3 found ourselves also in University of Ibadan. The 3 of us came to University of Ibadan. Well,
can you say that? Can you say that again for me? Sorry, University of
Ibadan. It was University College Ibadan. University College Ibadan. It was affiliated to London University, but eventually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's UCI.
UCI, gotcha.
Yes. But eventually became University of Ibadan, UI. But when we attended, it was a university college because the degree was being awarded by London University. They were doing the exams and so on, sending their staff.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So when there are 2 of them luckily passed their exams, their degree exams. And so my disappointment, they felt my failure so badly as I did myself. And they knew really how much it touched me. So they are unique in my life because what they did was, at the time, I was at a crossroad, not knowing what direction to go. Wanting compassion and wanting support. But they went over that more than that, and they thought of how to solve the problem. And so the 2 of them, they were the people who decided that I should go to UK to further my education. And then they told me that they want me to start applying for admission in a university in the UK. And when they said it, and knowing really that it was not easy as a private student to go to UK, but Nigerian government had a system. If you are going as a private student to study, the minimum fee they will require is the fee that can cover the first year and including your repatriation if you don't have fund again to bring you back. And that they worked out to be then £450. £450. So they thought that by soliciting support from some friends or relations with me, they can contribute and help me have that first year. Because I was saying, I don't know whether this was clear to them, but in my mind, I felt that if I went for first year, I would get federal scholarship before the session ended.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the appeals didn't, the response wasn't as they expected, they didn't give up. So they said, okay, this is 450. We shall provide, two of us should provide 2 tests of it, which was £300. You try and look for 150. I arranged to bring 150. And then once you pay this 450 deposit to government, then every other thing will be facilitated. And so they did it. What salary were they? They were young graduates, and what they were earning in a month then was £60 a month.
Wow.
So one of them, Emmanuel, brought £100, Jonathan brought £200, and I raised 450. That's all.
That's amazing.
They made possible.
Yeah.
Like going to UK and living in Europe and so on. So you can see when I say that unique, you can understand what I mean. Unfortunately, 2 of them have passed on, but I'm in touch with their families. Their wives and children. It's their wife and children. I talk to them. I get to them, and I have also helped to pay fees for one to get one in through the course.
Well, that's a whole pay forward thing, isn't it? I mean, I'm really absolutely completely touched by that. So I'd like to think there are people in my life that if I needed something that was out of my reach, but they believed in me and knew that if they could just find the money that it would be so transformative. I'd like to think there are people in my life that would do that. But that's real generosity. I mean, we're not talking about taking money that's easy. It's like 2 or 3 months' salary to give to you because that's what you needed at that time. And had they not done that, your path would probably not have gone to the United Nations. You wouldn't have taken that path. Your life would have gone in a very different way. But I'm sure not only were they enabling you practically, I imagine that you felt so, encouraged by their dedication to you that it made you try and achieve even more than you may have done had you not had friends like that in your life. And you sounds like you stayed in touch this whole time whilst they were. So how long were you friends for in the end?
Okay, now the friendship started in 19. If you say college, when we were in college, we became friends. It started in 1949.
Mm-hmm.
1949 to 50. In fact, and that of one of them was a teacher with me, and 2 of us lived in the same one single room. And 2 of us passed the exam to go to that college at the same time. One of them, Jonathan, we lived in the same room as a teacher, primary school teacher. The other person came from another state We met, when I say 1949, that is when 3 of us met. And we left the college in 1950. And so my friendship with Emmanuel, that was from 1949. Your mother died in 2009. He died 2010. Was to 210. But the friendship is with the family still. The children
still going.
We have got children, graduates, and so on. Then the friendship with the other one was from 1947 when I started teaching. After this, from 1947 until his death. Ibamose died 1970. Ibamose died 1974. 74, yes. But the friendship is still now because I'm in touch with the wife, I'm in touch with the children, and then whenever I go home to the East, I visit them. They do visit me.
I love that. I love that.
It's amazing.
And while we're doing dates, Eleazar, I've now worked this out. So you were born in 1928, right?
Yes.
So you met these guys when you were around 21, something like this. You were young
Yes,
then.
because when...
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, 1949. That makes sense. Okay, I'm just getting the timeline here. Oh, that's really something. And so that's a 50-plus year friendship. And, like I say about the pay it forward, I imagine... it doesn't even matter to me if you paid back the $450 in direct payment, but it sounds to me like you've paid it forward for them in so many ways, like you say, helping their children now and sort of looking after them. So it's like, that's, to me, that's what friendship is. And I've said this before on this podcast, is like, of course, we all need security and we need money in our lives to enable us to thrive. But to me, money isn't the most important thing. The people in my life are the most important thing. And I say, I know that if I ever needed anything, if they ever needed anything from me, it would just be there. I would find it and they would find it. And I think that's a very comforting place to be, isn't it? When you know you've got great people who will look after you like that. So I'm really glad Emmanuel and Jonathan made it on the list. Very good story. So listen, well, we're already on to the 5th. I've got other questions after this, but who is number 5? Tell me about number 5.
Yes. Number 5 is somebody called Eliman Khan. Eliman Khan, E-L-I-N-E, Khan, K-A-N-E. And he's from Mauritania. He was from Mauritania because he's late now.
Okay.
He was instrumental in my joining the ILO. At the time I met him, it was when I was in Geneva, doing a teaching fellowship in the International Institute for Labor Studies. It's all established by ILO itself, and he was working in the main ILO. But when I was there, again, I cannot say how we met, but we suddenly became friends, and he will invite me to his house and weekends and so on. And I remember really, I look forward to having Mauritanian tea after meal and so on. And they particularly what looked as the way they prepared it, they were throwing it up. So, but when I was leaving, he told me, say, you start to learn French. That looked odd to me, because by then I have stayed about 10 years in Europe. And I've felt really that I have stayed away, because how Dorothy and I arrived at going home at that time was when Danny, who was senior to Audrey, and Audrey was about 6 then, and we felt they would go home and know where they came. So when he told me that, I didn't take him serious, because at that time, the convention was here. People would tell you, when you finish, please hurry back to take a job, because seniority was a judge by when you join the service, And what is more, I was going back to a university, to a job in a university, which was the dream of my life. But then he followed that contact by inviting me to regional seminars or workshops, which they were having, because ILO conduct that one for member states, training where they have weekly, the ones they were having in West Africa. They normally arrange separate ones for English-speaking from that of French-speaking. I was being invited, so I would go from university at 10. But the big one was when he gave me a research contract, a big one, which covered the study of 7 African countries. I was to prepare a report, and that report will be the basis of a seminar, a bigger seminar. They will invite government employees, workers, academicians, and so on. That meeting was to be held in Egypt, but because of a political thing, it was eventually held in Tanzania. So when I finished the report, they were impressed with my paper, or the report I gave. In fact, they paid me more, gave me a bonus, how they impressed they were. And then they said, okay, I should be at that conference in Tanzania, where the report was used as a basis for discussion. And the discussion went well. They were all impressed with what I did there. Again, that was the second time he told me to start learning French. But I wasn't taken by it. As I said, we have been long away. And Nigeria, it is not now that the economy has turned around. Nigerian currency was strong then. In fact, when I left, Nigerian currency was stronger than pound and the dollar in Nigeria then.
Wow.
So then I took it. He covered the period I wasn't with him by getting me involved in seminars and the workshops. And then the final one was this report I prepared. So during this period also, when he was doing this, he was head of a big department in ILO, employment department. He had many employees. But during this period, he has risen to become assistant director general of ILO. He has risen to the position of assistant director general of ILO. And part of his job was visiting countries, member countries, their area office. They have area office in Lagos. In other words, you have an ILO office in Lagos. And by the time he was, and so his job really would take him from time to time to move around. I don't know how he got hint that I have moved to Lagos. So when he came on a visit to Lagos in 1982, the director of ILO office was throwing a cocktail party for him. He told the director general of the office, okay. He told the director to invite me to that party. And so I went to the party, and then he talked to me. He said, he because you have government employees, you have employers, private employers themselves, you had the academicians. So you chose the group you wanted to. He was moving around, but he spent time with me. Then at the end, he said, I told you to start learning French, but I don't see any move on you on working for ILO. We talked, but at the end, he said, please, could you send me your CV? Then, okay, I agreed. And then I sent him my CV. It was registered. Then he was by this time he was assistant general. He was also the director general of ILO in Africa. That is regional thing. So he wasn't staying in Geneva. He was staying in Addis Ababa. That was how we concluded that visit. He left. And then I continued my work as a judge in the National Industrial Court. Then 1984, that's 2 years after, he came again on another visit. He told the director general and the director of ILO office in Lagos to also invite me to the cocktail. I came to the cocktail. At the end of the cocktail, he told the driver that brought him from guest house, ILO UN guest house in Lagos, to go, that I will drive him back to the guest house. I was, of course, willing to do that. Very happy. So, but when we were going, he said, "What about the CV I asked you?" I said, "I sent you CV." He said he didn't receive it. He got an envelope, but there was nothing there.
Oh.
And he said, when I was coming, since I came, I have heard all sorts of stories about you. Some say you are moving to the university, because there was a friend of mine who was the professor of a professor in labor and what do you call it? Industrial relations in Lagos University. And he wanted me to come there. He was moving out, and he wanted me to come there, and then they have arranged the interview for me. Similarly, the government was wanting to set up a labor college in another state, that's in Lorraine, in this, and have contacted me. The minister has even told me, come to where I was living in Lagos, looked at the furniture and so on, and I made provision for them to give it. So he said, I have had a story, you are going here, I don't know. What do you think about this? Actually, because I wasn't convinced, I didn't have definite answer to. When he saw that I wasn't clear, he said, "Okay, why don't we meet in your house tomorrow? Come for dinner tomorrow evening." I said, "Okay, that will be all right." I went back. Then the next day, when I went to court, I didn't know how he found, but it was easier because he can take an officer from my ILO office. They can direct it to my house. He went and met my wife. And so when he met my wife, he told my wife the trouble he had been having all these years, chasing me, trying to see if I have interest in to get me to ILO, to work for ILO. And so he started putting the conditions. And one of the conditions was that UN had was children's grant. Children's grant, if you are an employee, your children, they can pay for the fees of their children or to university degree. And already in Lagos, we are feeling the pinch of our children going to private school, because when we moved from the university school, or from university at Nsukka, where they were going to university primary school, the standard there was very high. And when we came here, the state schools here, it was difficult to find one that challenged them. And so we had to shop in private schools, and we are paying so much for it. And so when I returned that day, that's the day before, in the evening, then my wife sat me down and brought this question of saying, you see the trouble we are having paying fees for children, and you see somebody now who wants to pay for help us like that. And you seem to have the illusion that you are a judge. At the end of the month, how much do you have? Because she was making money herself, supporting me. And so after talking with her, then I felt she had a case. He said, you have all these amenities, but we keep on spending money on entertaining people. At the end of them, without me, can we eat over the month?
Yeah.
So when Eliman Khan came the following day in the evening, it was not a question of debating whether I want a job or not. My wife was just looking carefully on my mouth to see me say, yes, I want that job. And then I ended anyway telling him, say, what do you have for me? Whatever you want to offer, make it directly to me, not through the government, and allowed me 3 months to prepare to detach myself from the government. And so, lo and behold, he did send the papers, I received papers saying, offering me a job.
Amazing. Well, okay, so Eleazar, first of all, sorry to interrupt for a second, but I need to get some things a bit cleared up here. So, first of all, Elin, E-L-I-N-E, how do you say his first name?
First name?
Elin Khan.
Eliman. E-E-L-I. Eliman. E-L-I. Khan. E-L-I-N-E.
I did write that. A-L-N. Okay.
And the Khan is C-A-N-E.
C-A. Okay, so much here.
Sorry, E-L-I-M-A-N-E. E-L-I-M-A-N-E.
Eliman.
Yes.
Okay, I have it now. Okay, so many things here. Okay, one is I don't even know where Mauritania is, so you have to help me out. Where is that?
Do you know where Morocco is when you look at the map of it? Mauritania is between Senegal and Morocco,
Gotcha.
or northwest of Africa.
Northwest, right? I can picture that now.
Yes.
And I love the fact that, I mean, did you ever learn French? Did you ever bother? It sounds like he kept asking you and you said...
Yes, I tried even when I went to Geneva and so on. They were offering that. But when I opened my mouth, I was entertaining the whole class. And since I could get away with English, I didn't bother to learn it. But my children learned it. Even you.
I love that, though. I love it that Eleman was like saying, just learn French. And where's your CV? And you sent an empty envelope and you didn't learn French. And yet he still came and wanted you. And I love the fact that Dorothy was the architect of it finally, that he had the sense to go and ask Dorothy. And he also had the sense to recognize that, you know, your children, as they were getting older, needed more resources. And I know we haven't included your children in the 5, but just touch on that for a minute, because your children, you know, went on to study at, I mean, Chakudi went to Yale. Am I right with that? Chakudi
No, can you repeat? Can you repeat? Say, you know?
I'm saying that I know that your children went and studied in some really impressive universities. Like Chakudi went to Yale. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think Odiri was in Manchester, something like this. So you have...
No, Audrey was in America. He was in University of Greensboro. Manchester was my daughter. Nene was in Manchester. Yes. And Chukudi was in... So
I think Chakudi was in Yale. That's right, isn't it?
Chukudi was in Yale.
So all of your children were, you know, he was right to come to Dorothy and say, look, your kids are going to need more resources if they're going to study in these amazing universities. So I think that was perfect, because that decision not just enabled your career, but it enabled your children's career. They all were able to go and have extraordinary educations and have all gone on to do amazing things. I mean, I joked with you before about, you know, how you have created, you and Dorothy have, you know, invested in, and you deserve the wonderful relationship that you have with your children, but also this incredible success of everybody. You know, your Nene is a very successful oncologist. I know that. Oh, hang on. I always get the names wrong, don't I? Which one is Chinene? That's Nene.
Chinene is the one here with me, the last one. Chinene is the last one.
Is Chinene and Nene the same person? This is what I need to know.
No, Nene and Chigozirije, the same. Nene and Chigozirije.
Yes, I know that I always get the two mixed up, the two girls.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes.
No, that's all right. But you have Chinene that's with you now is an oncologist. You have a daughter that's at let me get this right, Foreign Office. She works in the Foreign Office.
Yes. It's a diplomat.
Diplomats. You have Adiri, who's works in the film industry, who I met first of all, and I've told you before how I've met. And actually, just for people listening here, the reason I met Odiri is that we got chatting at an airport lounge bar, and we just started talking about, music and film and things like that, and that's how we became friends. And then, of course, Chikudi, who I've interviewed here already, is a very successful Shakespearean and film actor and television actor. So, and I know there's one we haven't talked about, which is Danny, your eldest, who sadly passed away in his 30s. But even he, he was, from what I know, lived life to the absolute full, to against all expectations, I guess, with his illness. And all of these children, you must be so proud of them and everything that they've achieved. And just hats off to you, really, for if you look at the whole story, your parents investing in education, you and Dorothy investing in their education, and so it goes. So I just wanted to mention the children, because I think they're such a big part of who you are and what you've achieved as well.
Sorry, what do you say you want me to do?
Oh, nothing. It was just me I just wanted to reflect on it. I just wanted to...
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes,
I think it's just such a wonderful passing on this generation of investment and in education. I think it's such a big part of the Iwuji story. So listen, we've done the 5. We finished with, I'm never going to get it right, Eleman. No, still can't get it right. But it's just Eleman. You've got some extraordinary characters here. They've definitely had an impact on you. You can see how each one has shaped your trajectory of your success. And we've talked a little bit about the people and some of the characteristics that you see in yourself. Like you talked about your parents making you very strong and courageous. Is there anything else you can point to and say, these people made me think about this, or these people made me feel this way, or these people gave me this part of my character? Is there anything you can actually point to with the people you've mentioned so far?
Yes, I think there are certain things I can point out. When it comes to what people can identify as my character, or if you ask them, have you met Eleazar, and what do you think about it? I think some of the obvious things they can say about my humility or interest in other people, and concern about people around me, how they're getting on, or how I'm involved in activities to help other people. I got from my father and from people I was meeting.
Yeah.
Now, so if you see people really like these my 2 friends who made that a contribution, really for me to go to UK, it is logical to say, if I see when I have as has happened, if I have an opportunity or somebody or a child really wanting to passing and wanting to go to college or university, and this money that is depending, if I have it, I will do it. And that is one. The question of the respect we have, we try to make my children know that if somebody is serving us, you wouldn't look down on that person. If somebody is helping us, that just as they are important to us, such people are also important to their parents, and so everybody should be treated equally.
Yes.
With this, some of the things I learned. And then the attitude of somebody like Eleman Khan from Mauritania, who was a Muslim. He's not a Christian. He wasn't a Christian like me. That should come, check. We didn't have any relation and things. We then go to see the sort of antipathy I have for discrimination because of race or where you come from. And then when it comes to education, if my father at that level placed such emphasis in education, made a sacrifice. So the length my wife and I went to make sure that our children went to educate on this, and then how we encourage people and how we support this. They're not support this. I can say we had things we could look back to and saw from people which we appreciated. That is in my life. And other things, really, I don't know. Unless it's not all for me now to be saying what I am or what I'm not.
Yes,
what I'm trying to say from this. So I was really influenced directly or indirectly through these
people.
Contacts.
And it's like, I mean, you won't say this because you're a very humble person, but, your kids are a credit to you and Dorothy. I've met Odiri several times now, and he's absolutely delightful. And I was really taken with Chukudi. I didn't expect him to be so warm and open with me, because I suppose because he was a celebrity, that he would be very media trained and not so maybe open to sort of talking about such vulnerable things, really, and kind of open things. And then Chinene has been amazing helping me set this up with you. And, I just, they say that your children reflect the person you are. And if that's the case, then, you live on, if you like, your values, everything that you are lives on in your children, and they're a real credit to you. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, listen, why don't we finish off with, well, actually, I normally ask people at this stage, sorry, what are you going to say?
Yes, talking of my children, I must say also that I realize really that I'm fortunate. I am proud of them. Really, they didn't let us down. Starting from Chine, Nene, that's it. Chukwude and Chinenye here. I think I keep saying that it's something I attribute to grace of God, that they thought there are people who invested or who did that for their children, but they didn't get it really. It may not be, they are not so fortunate as they have. They have jobs that are they like, jobs really that have a job that gives them what you call job satisfaction, and it's rewarding. We thank God for it. And then they have never embarrassed me also in their attitude. That's it. Some parents who worry. So those are things for which I give thanks to God that they did. He only did it. Not, I cannot claim we did, because there are people who paid more, who send us children to better school, but they didn't come out with as good results as they are. So I am also proud of them, and thank you very much for appreciating or for letting me know what you think about them.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. And I know they feel very much the same towards you. They're very proud of you, for sure. Well, listen, normally I ask my guests at this stage how they're going to pay all this wonderful investment forward. But I feel a bit shy asking you this because, well, if you're anybody at home working out their calculator, I think if you were born in 1928, what does that make you, Eleazar? 97 this year?
I'm 97 this year. I was 97 last March.
Wow. Okay. So you can see my problem. I have to ask you, what are you going to do to pay all this forward? And you're like, I've done quite a lot already, Julia. I'm probably just going to, enjoy my days and enjoy my family. What do you mean? I have to do something. But I bet you are. I bet you are doing things all the time. I bet you're giving forward all the time, helping people be, whatever it is that you can offer them. So, you're a real inspiration, Eleazar. You really are. And I really wanted to acknowledge that. I think the energy that you have and your interest and just the sharpness of you, it's a real inspiration. I'm hoping to live to 103. I may have told you this before. That's my ambition.
You want to?
I want to live to 103. This is what I told my son.
Yes.
When my son was small, he used to say to me, "Mummy, when are you going to die?" And at first it was a bit upsetting. I'd be like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "When are you going to die?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to live to 103." And then for many, many years, he counted backwards and said every birthday he'd say, "Oh, only 70-something years to go, Mum." And I'm like, hang on. So it's a kind of a running joke in our house that yes. I'm going to live to 103, but I really hope I do. I really hope I do, because I want to, I so much I want to achieve and do. But at 97, I imagine you are at a place of quite contentment. I think if I were you and I'd lived the life you'd led and the family that you have around you, I would feel pretty content. So I really hope you feel content, Eleazar. I really, really wish that for you.
Thank you very much, I do. Thank you.
Good. You. Well, all right. Well, listen, final question. My next question is always, who should I speak to next and why?
Yes. Again, I don't know why I can't. The examples I give are couples. Yes. The person I would recommend is a person called Malcolm. Malcolm and his wife, Elizabeth McGregor. They're Scottish people.
McGregor.
Malcolm.
Elizabeth McGregor. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Malcolm was UK and the international director of SIM. Have you heard of SIM? Service in Mission. It's a religious thing, really, but international. Malcolm, have you got the? Do you want to?
I've got it. Service in Mission, SIM.
Yes.
Malcolm and Elizabeth McGregor. Yep, I've got it.
Yes. Malcolm trained as an architect, and he worked in Nigeria at Enugu as an architect. And in fact, when we were at the university, because the university in Nsukka, we had a campus at Enugu, we happened to have attended a wedding of a mutual friend, but we didn't know. We weren't introduced to each other. We met again. Where we then met was in Addis Ababa, when I had taken up the UN job. And Malcolm and Elizabeth have come there as missionaries. And they were teaching my Chukwudi and Chinenye. Chukwudi and Chinenye were their pupils at Bingham School. Bingham School was built essentially for expatriates, particularly missionaries there, their school. And it was a school really high up. The standard was good. Then from there, Malcolm then became a director of SIM International. The whole thing, and was posted. They went to America. They were in America. From America, they worked there. He worked there for many years. And then they retired and returned to Scotland. Mm-hmm. But in Scotland, he has a job now. From Scotland, yes. He now oversees what SIM activities in many countries, including really looking after helping strangers, particularly people from foreign countries, studying in UK. Many are particularly postgraduate people and so on. They're studying or seeing to their welfare, and from time to time revisiting the places, various countries they have been. They are a wonderful couple, and I made a lot of wonderful contribution to people's life. Who touched them the way they do. You wouldn't regret meeting them.
Okay.
And so although we have known them now for more than 45 years, we have kept in touch, and we last met even last September or June. I was in the UK. They came from Scotland, we saw, and they travel and move around.
So will you see them this time? Because I think you're coming to the UK again, aren't you, in June? Is it? Dewey told me.
Yes, I'm coming, but it depends where they are then. Whether
they're in Scotland or not.
Yes, whether in Scotland or whether they are in different countries, because they go all over the world and so on. You meet them, but if you get in touch with them, they will really have a slot you meet. Get a time to talk with you.
That's amazing. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so Malcolm and Elizabeth McGregor.
Yes.
Maybe in Scotland, maybe not. They may be all over
the world. In London, yes, or anywhere. That's right.
Well, listen, thank you so much for that. I am quite excited about the fact that you are coming to England. I'm kind of trying to find out if I can work my way into your schedule. And meet you in person.
We'll have to, because I will be there for no less than 2 months.
Yes, I know. I'm sort of thinking you must be able to find time for me somewhere in that 2 months.
I would love.
So I think that would be really lovely. So and I wish you the best of travels. I imagine it's a long journey for you, but I can't wait to meet you in person. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you today, Eleazar. I mean, you are. As I say, you're just such an inspiration to me, to many people, I'm sure. Anyone listening to this, I remind them again, this is a man that didn't have shoes until he was 14 and now has this rich and accomplished life. And, as I say, it's been an absolute joy. So thank you for taking the time talking to me.
Thank you.
Is there anything I haven't asked that you'd like to share before we go? Anything you'd like to...
No, I did. No. You get all that things you want from me, but from my book anyway. And
that's true.
I look forward to see you. We will meet. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I cherish it. It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Well, I'm going to do a little plug for you then. So I'm going to hold your book up one more time. So if anybody wants to know more about Eleazar, as I say, it's Memoir of a Country Boy. There it is. Available where? Where can you get this book from?
You can discuss that with Audrey because he had the copies ready.
Okay, so if anybody wants this book, get in touch with me and I'll sort it out. How about that?
That's right. That would be okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, listen, hopefully we've left just enough time for you to get that nice glass of red wine, and Shanene is going to join you. I think that's perfect.
It's 6:25. And then by 7 o'clock, it will be a proper time for me to have it. I wish you were here to share it with me.
Oh, I wish I was too. Listen, thank you so much for today, Eleazar. I wish you all the very best and thank you again. So that was Dr. Eleazar Iwuji. Wonderful, wonderful human being. Great man. He is much, much revered and celebrated amongst his world. And I know this because, people have already reached out to me to say that they were excited to know that he was even on this show. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was a treat. I really, really, really love Eleazar. He's fabulous. Next week we have Yasmin Ibrahim. Now, Yasmin is someone I would never thought I would meet in my normal life. She is a psychic coach. A psychic coach. I didn't know such things existed. But when you come to hear her speak about it, it makes an awful lot of sense. And I've had the pleasure since, actually, of being one of her clients. She kind of gave me a little taster session, and it was absolutely fantastic. So can't wait to share this one with you. That's Yasmin for next week. In the meantime, if you loved the conversation with Eleazar, please let me know. Send me a little note, go on the socials, like, subscribe, follow my show. Just generally get involved. I really like it. It's so nice when you're starting to build an audience to actually have some sort of comms. And I love hearing from you. So until next week, when I introduce you to Yasmin, have a great week ahead, and I'll see you then. Take care.